Which is the best Pokemon game ever? For my money, there's really only one game I can call the absolute cream of the crop. Well, two, but you know what I mean. A sequel to the second best Pokemon game. It has my favorite region, the best music, a gripping story, a masterclass of a Pokemon game. And that game is Pokemon Blaze Black 2 and Volt White 2. What else did you think it was? Yeah, alright, I'm sure I got some explaining to do. I'll definitely be making a video detailing why these games are my favorite in the future. But I wanted to get these gyms out of the way first so I don't waste my time having to go through the story and game you've all played already for the majority of this video. So, I guess a brief on what these are. Pokemon Blaze Black 2 and Volt White 2 are hacks of Pokemon Black 2 and Pokemon White 2, respectively, and were made by the absolute genius Draiano. The three key things that these hacks add are 1. Every single Pokemon up to Genesect is obtainable in-game without trading, either in the wild or through modified evolution methods. 2. Certain Pokemon, especially weaker ones, have been tweaked to be more usable. These modifications range from simple stat boosts, the Pokemon's abilities being changed, to having completely different learn sets. And 3. Trainers have modified rosters. This applies for all trainers from youngsters to the champion. The hack also features a challenge mode that pushes their ridiculousness even further, and gives every single gym leader 6 Pokemon. Yeah, you probably get now why guides like this might be necessary. As a last point, Draiano released 2 versions of each hack, a complete version with the updated Pokemon and trainer rosters, and a vanilla version without both. These gym leader guides would be with the complete version in challenge mode, cause I'm not a And yeah, I think that's about it. Cheren, one of the 2-player character rivals in the base game's prequels, Black and White. As his fashion sense switched from college sophomore to teacher's assistant, he is now the gym leader of Aspersia City, and a specializer of the normal type. In BB2VW2CM, that's a bit of a mouthful, I'll just call it the hack from now on. This battle is arguably the most challenging considering how few your options in party Pokemon are. Before this fight, there are only 3 routes you can get Pokemon from, giving you very limited options for a team. Personally, I think the most aggravating battle's a bit of a ways off, but I can imagine a lot of people dropping this hack completely for how much of a difficulty spike this fight is early on. But don't fear, Sentient White Radish is here. Let's take a look at Cheren's team. He leads with a Minccino holding a Chople Berry, a berry that reduces the damage of a single super effective fighting type attack. It has the Technician ability which significantly boosts the power of its Swift and Thief by 50%. Swift in particular is dangerous considering it will never miss and the same type attack bonus damage. Thief is a good move, but the most it could steal at this point of the game is a Quick Claw or an Oran Berry, and Minccino has to consume its berry first to even snag your item, so it's not much of a factor. Of course there's Sing, which is annoying but at least misses a lot. Still, overall, watch out for this one. Lillipup comes next, packing an Oran Berry and Vital Spirit with the moves Work Up, Pursuit, Tackle, and Thunderfang. This little guy is specifically designed to take out Psyducks, as Vital Spirit makes it so Hypnosis doesn't work, while Thunderfang is for super effective damage. Next up is his Pidove, with an Oran Berry and Super Luck. Pidove is supposed to deal with both fighting types and Pokemon that spam defense boosting moves. Super Luck makes Air Cutter particularly dangerous as it further boosts its crit, dealing more damage and ignoring defenses and stat loss. You have to take it out quickly too, or Morning Sun would bring it back to tip-top health. Baniri is next, with another Chople Berry and Limber. It has Water Pulse, strangely enough, and is generally supposed to counter Houndoom and Tepig. Limber also counters Marip, Static, and Thunder Wave somewhat, so make sure to save your sheep. Now we get to Teddiursa, with a Toxic Orb and Quick Feet. Cheren's whole strategy with this little guy is for Quick Feet to trigger on the second turn with his Toxic Orb, then it'll proceed to spam either Covet for big damage or Metal Claw to boost its attack. Once it gets a few Metal Claw boosts, it'll get very hard for you to retaliate, so be careful with that. Lastly is his ace, the Berry Hungry Munchlax. It's got Leftovers and Thick Fat to resist Fire-type attacks. Rock Tomb has amazing coverage for this stage of the game, covering Bug, Flying, and Fire types, almost half your options at this point of the game. Munchlax has one of the highest attack and HP stats of any first stage Pokemon, so come prepared for this one. Overall, Cheren's team is a powerhouse, especially this early in the game when you can still count how many trainers you've fought. You don't have many options, so you gotta pick your partners very carefully. But who do you bring? The main threats of Cheren's team are Pidove and Munchlax, but the rest aren't slouches either. Pidove can get some nasty crits on your team, plus it has longevity with Morning Sun. Munchlax is tanky with his stats, leftovers, and thick fat. If he's able to get work up off or get a lucky boost with Metronome, it'll be pretty much impossible to win at that point. These two have to be taken out quickly. The easiest way to beat Cheren's team is with Tepig, specifically its evolution, Pignite. If you're not planning to use a starter for the rest of the game, Tepig is your best choice to blitz through Cheren. Now I want to explain something introduced in Gen 5, the new experience system. What this does is make lower level Pokemon that defeat higher level ones get heaps of experience, while higher level Pokemon beating down lower level ones get almost nothing. Tepig evolves at level 17. In normal mode, it's almost impossible to get Tepig to that level without heavy grinding, but in challenge mode, trainers have increased Pokemon levels. If you manage to feed every trainer or battle to Tepig, it would have just enough experience to grab that sweet evolution. I have played this hack so many times and I've always managed to get Tepig to Pignite before this fight. Pignite learns Arm Thrust upon evolving, which obliterates literally every single Pokemon on Cheren's team, including Pidove. It even has the additional advantage of popping Chople Berry, thanks to it being a multi-hit move. Lastly, Munchlax also has very poor defense and goes down quickly to a few slaps. Now, as for the two other options, Juwat gets Rock Smash, which is decent, but nowhere near as good as Arm Thrust as it doesn't get stab and multi-hit. Servine gets Dragon Rage, which is okay, but remember that it won't be one-shotting anything, as the damage is always 40. You know what they say. The early bird gets a 2 overpowered worms. Meet Caterpie and Weedle. Painfully unimpressive at first, but get them to level 10 and you'll have your Jesus and Moses for this fight. Both of them can learn Bug Bite before even evolving, which can pop enemy Oran Berries. Remember when I said how weaker Pokemon have been given boosts to make them usable? Well, Butterfree and Beedrill are two of the biggest benefactors of these buffs, as they both enjoy 80 points of additional stats with 20 points going on their respective offensive stats. What's more, upon evolving, they get a super strong stab attack, Air Cutter for Butterfree and Cross Poison for Beedrill. These two are capable of 2 to 3 shotting all of Cheren's Pokemon. Just be careful of Thunderfang and Air Cutter. Munchlax's Rock Tomb is also a problem, but Beedrill can at least use Harden while against Baniri or Teddiursa. Munchlax is also dirt slow, so you'd be able to get at least 1 or 2 Cross Poisons off. Great Pokemon, though they do lose their usefulness fairly quickly. Both are available in the wild up to level 6, so you won't need excessive grinding if you're lucky. After these two though, your options are a lot less absolute. The next offensive Pokemon I can recommend is Lillipup, who has a chance to appear at a high level and has a great stab in Tackle. For utility Pokemon, you have Psyduck and Ralts with Hypnosis, Shroomish with Stun Spore, and Marik with Thunder Wave and Growl. These are great Pokemon to send out, disable, and weaken a problematic Pokemon for a stronger Pokemon to switch in and take them out. Mareep is probably the best out of these, but remember that you have 5 available party slots, 6 if you're not gonna use your starter. It's highly recommended that you use all of them. By the way, there won't be any Shaking Grass until after you get your first badge, so no Audino, Dunsparce, and Togepi. It should be noted that there are actually 3 available fighting types you can get before the fight, but frankly all of them kinda suck, at least for this fight. Mankey's okay, but is really frail. Riolu doesn't get a fighting move until level 20, unless you count Counter, which necessitates you take heavy damage and or spam potions. And Tyrogue doesn't learn Rock Smash at level 10 despite the documentation saying otherwise. Trust me, I've trained a Tyrogue in one of my earlier runs and I was surprised when he didn't learn anything at level 10. This might be an oversight on the hacker's part, but yeah, keep that in mind. As last points, for held items you have the Quick Claw and Oran Berries. Slap the Claw on your slowest Pokemon and the Oran Berries on everybody else, but be careful of the Covets and Thief. The hack also features optional Hoenn Gym Leader battles you can partake in before the actual gym fight, and you can battle these guys as many times as you want. If you're willing to grind excessively, you can keep fighting Roxanne in the gym classroom for experience. I personally only fight these guys once each and every run. Roxanne is an equally challenging trainer though, so be careful. I'll be most definitely be making a guide on beating Roxanne as well, so stay tuned for that. And that about wraps it up for Cheren. Hopefully this guide will get you through this monumental challenge of a first gym leader, and keep you playing more of this wonderful hack, as I know a lot of people dropped this hack completely after seeing Cheren's team. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and or leaving a comment. Share with me the team you used to beat this gym leader. Anyways, that's it. Salamat at mag-ingat kayo!